And we're at day 2 of Pacific 2019. You're with ADBRTV, and I'm talking to the Commanding Officer of New Ship Sydney, Commander Ted Seymour. Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
So we spoke about a month ago in preparation for the AWD article we did for the magazine. Since then, you've hit a bit of a key milestone. Can you tell us about that?
We have. Great article, by the way.
Thank you.
A read of that yesterday. It's very good. Yeah, we have hit a key milestone. So Builder Sea Trials has recently been completed a couple of weeks ago. And I've got to say it was really a pleasant experience being at sea on the ship and seeing the standard of work that's been achieved by the AWD Alliance on the platform itself. We've got a really quality platform that we're going to be operating into the future, and the trials were quite outstanding. The interesting thing about the trials is if you don't find any problems, that's when you get worried. So the whole point of the Builder Sea Trials is to look at the platform and to do some quality control on the standard of the work that's been done. So as expected, a couple of small problems were found, but the really pleasing thing about the whole experience from my perspective was that the maturity of the organisation in Adelaide now and our shipbuilding industry, when those problems were found, ship went alongside, manufactured the spare part quickly, delivered it to the ship, fitted it back to sea within a couple of days, and trials completed successfully. So all in all, the Builder Sea Trials is a very positive experience, and it's giving us quite a lot of confidence in the platform that we'll be getting from the Alliance.
And when you do a sea trial, I understand it's a hybrid crew of the manufacturer and Navy, is that right?
Yeah, there was... at one point, I was sitting in the Junior Sailors Cafe during one of the meal periods, and I had at the table a German, a Spaniard, a Frenchman, and a bloke from Cabramatta. So it was really interesting, the people from different nationalities that have been supporting the Alliance, obviously Navantia and various other companies, the team that did the tests on the fin stabilisers, for example, a French team.
Okay.
So having so many different nationalities working together in such a collaborative environment really produced some great results for the outcome of the ship.
And so what happens next? Let's say short to medium term, in the next 8 to 12 months, what happens with the ship?
Well, the next key milestone with the build process is the Cat 5 trials. That'll be more focused on the combat system, as we discussed last time we talked. So that will occur in the next few weeks. We'll get underway for that, and that'll be a 3 to 4 week period, depending on how that goes. From my perspective, I'm really looking forward to that because it's the first opportunity where I get to really put some of my combat systems guys into that ops room to support those trials. So that will be excellent experience for them, and it'll once again give us more confidence in the platform and the way that it operates. So that's coming up very shortly. From a Navy perspective, that's so really what we've just talked about is the Alliance perspective, the shipbuilding industry perspective. From a Navy perspective, we have some different things that we need to work on. The Navy's become very mature in the last few years in seaworthiness process. So we've got a sea release assurance framework that we will run through, where we essentially look at all the different elements of the ship, the people. Make sure that people are trained, not from an individual perspective, but a collective perspective. The platform, ensuring that the systems work correctly once we get it up here, and that process will be carried out over the next 6 months, really, with the culmination of that being in 12 months' time after we've proven the combat system after a deployment to the US. So I guess the Fleet Commander's aim is for us to be battle ready and deployed, and in 12 months' time, after going through that process of sea release, checking all of the systems, training all of the people, conducting mariner skills evaluations, combat survivability assessments by Sea Training Group, we'll hit all those milestones over that 12-month period, be deployed, and then we should be able to recommend to the higher ranks of the Navy, the Chief of Navy, that he declare final operational capability for the class, we hope.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess in that time you'll be growing your crew. There'll be fewer and fewer shipyard folks on board and more uniform personnel.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Cat 5 trials, there'll be more New Ship Sydney personnel on board. And that's mainly to support the trials that are going on. It's still a Alliance responsibility, CASG, the real customer at this point. And we're supporting them. As I said to you in the previous interview, we've got 25% of our crew that are embedded in the Alliance in Adelaide, so they're key to that test and acceptance process. As we go through the process over the next few months of taking provisional acceptance, so provisional acceptance should be sometime in February, that's when the New Ship Sydney crew will take responsibility for the ship on behalf of CASG, so that'll be when we really get the crew on board, and then when we sail it and transit up to Sydney, it'll probably be a hybrid of both Alliance and New Ship Sydney personnel, with the civilian master still and his crew to deliver the ship. But from delivery in Sydney in March next year, that's when my crew will be responsible for the ship, and it'll have transitioned fully to a Navy crew by that point in time.
Fantastic. So getting back to Pacific 2019, what are you hoping to get out of the show this week?
Oh, it's been really good. So a lot of the lecturers who teach at the Australian Command and Staff course are here actually, so I've managed to catch up with a few of them. It was great to hear Professor Dean talking about amphibious operations yesterday. He and Admiral Jones put together quite a good syndicate discussion, and a lot of my team managed to attend that, so that was quite worthwhile.
So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to ADBRTV, and I wish you well in the next 6 to 12 months.
No worries.